Experimental Tin Goose, I believe it is, there's one paragraph that ends talking about cars in the experimental department, number 57 that Alex Tremulous was working on.
Correct.
And then another, the next paragraph starts off saying that there was a car that was being worked on with a wraparound rear windshield. A lot of people seem to believe that that due to the fact that 57 is talked about in the first paragraph, and then a car with a wraparound rear windshield is talked about in the next paragraph, that 57 is the car that was being worked on for the rear wraparound windshield.
No, the 57 went into the experimental department as a four-door. They cut the roof off, and because they had trouble with the frame because it flexed, they re-engineered the frame, did the double thickness of the frame, and started working on that car as a two-door convertible for the upcoming production year. And my interview with Mr. Lanke was that when the Securities and Exchange Commission were doing their investigation, because this car was being built off the books in the experimental department under the direction of Robert McCollum, it was moved to Lanke. And Joseph Lanke and his people, along with Tucker people, worked on the car there until the money all dried up during the trial and so on. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
The car did change hands a couple of times, two former Lanke employees, and I found the car in a 6400 block of South Halstead on the south side of Chicago. I think that was 81 or 82.
And how did you hear of the car, the convertible project?
Well, the Walkie Journal did an article on my shop, and somehow or another the Chicago Tribune had the same article in their newspaper, and I was unaware of it. And through that article, I received a lot of correspondence from various people, you know, throughout the Chicago area that either was involved with Tucker, the plant, or Lanke, and subsequently run across the car, and I purchased it.
Okay, all right. And do you know, so as for experimental or special development cars, is it your belief that the convertible was the only one they were working on in that department?
Yes. I interviewed Robert McCollum, who when he left the Tucker Corporation, he found his way up in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and he became a court stenographer for the court system up there. And I went up there and I interviewed him, and he told me what his duties were at the Tucker factory and that they were indeed working on this convertible project for an upcoming new model. That Preston Tucker had asked that a new model, the two-door Trailsman, and the convertible project, you know, for the next 1949, for all I know, maybe 1950.
Okay. And there are some people who state that the project, that also state that the project did exist and that it was a project that Preston was planning on giving to his wife once he completed. Do you believe that?
Well, the rumor was that there was the code name for the convertible project was Vera, and that any time Mel Cuppin was approached by Preston Tucker's secretary, Dee Dee Jordan, and she mentioned, well, I need 1,000, 2,000, or whatever it was, and give him the code name for this project, he knew what it was for, and he would write out a check for it.
Interesting. So, do you know who created the name Vera?
No.
And it was Cuppin?
Mel Cuppin, who was the accountant, he was the only individual authorized to write a check for any given project, and there were many, many code projects in the works.
Okay. And so he's the one who told you that the convertible's code name was Vera?
Yes.
Okay. And the other projects that were in the works, you're not sure of specifically which ones they were?
No.
Okay. Okay, I'm just going to read here. Real quickly before I start on that. The engine in the convertible project was a spare engine.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
There are people that claim that it came out of, I think, Tucker number 44 or something like that. But
Well, Richard Jones had chronicled all of the former owners of Tucker Automobiles, the 58 bodies, all the spare engines, what the serial numbers were of the spare engines. And on that sheet that I gave you, it shows number 33539 was a spare engine, was owned by Les Schaefer in Steelton, Pennsylvania. He owned other engines also. I bought 3 brand new motors from him. And he owned Tucker 8, number 44, and had the Tin Goose in his possession at that time, and the front half of 18, which I also bought.